This broadcast is a Stephen K. Media production.
The success of the small business person is the cornerstone of the American economy. Welcome to the Small Business Today Show with your hosts, Cruz and Hughes. The Small Business Today Show is for and about small business advancement and development. What we do for you. We'll be taking your calls as we provide you small business intelligence and mentorship needed to grow your business creatively. Keep listening. The Small Business Today Show with Cruz and Hughes starts now.
Hello, small business people, and welcome back to another episode of Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes, right here on Blog Talk Radio, where we broadcast Monday through Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Guys, this is the place where we discuss the topics that inspires entrepreneurs from thought to action. Irv and I, we would really enjoy it if you would share your thoughts with us. Pick up the telephone and give us a call. You can reach us right now at 347-857-3958. Again, that number here to the studio is 347-857-3958. Irv?
Yes, sir.
How was your day today, sir?
I had a great day, man. You know, I'm always having a good day when I come on this show because it's like the tail end of the business day. People around the country are about to wrap up, except the folks on the West Coast. They're still at work.
Yeah, it's like lunchtime or something.
Yeah, it's not lunchtime, John. It's not lunchtime, but close.
Close, okay.
Yeah, it's close. Just after lunchtime.
Okay.
Right about the time you folks out on the West Coast are just about to have that afternoon letdown, we come on the air.
That's it. Now we just to pick you up, give you some information.
That's right. Give you some information, give you something to ride home on. You know, those of you who are on the Bay Area Rapid Transit on the BART train.
You know about the BART. Huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, you got to know if you've been on the West Coast, man. You have to ride up and down the West Coast on that thing.
And, you know, the first time I went to the West Coast, it was in the Bay Area.
Yep.
And I understood now why Mark Twain said the coldest winter he ever spent was a summer in San Francisco.
That's exactly
I'm telling you, I was really underdressed. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I'm thinking sunny California.
Nah,
and when I stepped out of the terminal there, and that breeze hit me right off of that water.
Yes, sir, off the bay.
I had to go immediately to the mall and buy some clothes.
Well, you know what it is that especially in the evenings over there, you know, the breeze coming off the bay. First of all, Pacific water is just cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, for those of us who are down here on the Gulf Coast, you know, we have hot water.
Yeah. I mean, the Gulf of Mexico is really a hot tub.
Oh, no doubt. It really is. It really is. But, no, I had a great day today. Of course, talking to more and more small business owners about, you know, how to go about getting in the game, getting set up to provide financing for small businesses, all those great things I had an opportunity to do today. So I'm excited about that.
That's good. Well, you know, yesterday we talked about why your employees are leaving.
Right.
I figured today we could talk a little bit about what your employees really want.
You know what? I believe that we probably prompted a question yesterday in yesterday's show that left a lot of people asking, well, what do you want?
Yeah.
you know, I can't keep you
It's
here,
not compensation.
and it's not money. You know, and I tried to get you to agree that it was only money. It was the only reason why anyone would stay on a job, but you disagreed.
When I was an employee, that used to be all that I wanted until I got there to the job and I realized that, man, I'm missing a lot more.
Yeah, there's more to it than that. But you know what? So I think today, talking about what do they want then? If they don't want money, if it's not just money, what exactly do your employees want?
What is it? What is it?
Yeah.
You know, when I think about employees, I think about your business is really an engine.
Absolutely it is.
And the process and system that you have in place is truly that engine.
Right.
But you know, the oil that makes the engine smooth, makes the engine put out high output.
That's right.
That's the employees.
Absolutely.
And if the employees are the lifeblood of your engine, if they are the oil, if you will, there's a way that the difference is in the business engine, you don't want to change your employees every 3,000 minutes.
No, not even every 3,000 miles, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. These are people that once you've conditioned and trained them, you want them to stay in that engine and you want them to become the grease for which your business is able to produce head and shoulders above its competition.
Absolutely. And you know what, John, to that end, when we stop and take a look at small businesses, one of the things that I know I pay attention to is whether or not these employees really buy into the vision.
Right. If they even know what the vision is.
Yeah, or if they know what the vision is. And it's, guess what, folks? If you're the business owner, not their fault if they don't know.
That's right. That's management.
That's management. So not their fault if they don't know. Oftentimes I'm reminded of when I got started in business that I wound up in a situation where I couldn't figure out. I said, why am I the only one around here who seems to understand what the heck's going on? And I used to grumble about that.
Really?
And finally, John, I had a guy point back at me and tell me to my face that I was the problem. Except I realized I was standing in front of a mirror. And
so you were the problem.
I was the problem, and I was so excited to find that out.
So what did you do?
Well, I immediately got better about communicating what the vision was and communicating to my employees and to my colleagues what the plan was.
And why do you think that's important?
Well, because I couldn't get everybody on the same page. I couldn't get the buy-in. I couldn't figure out those people who should not have been there because I didn't share with them what the vision was and give them the opportunity to either get in or get out.
I like that term you just used, buy-in.
Yeah.
And I think as ownership, small business entrepreneurs, we so desperately need that.
Sure.
We need complete and total buy-in from our employees, but that's something that the employee has to give willingly.
That's right.
All we can do is prepare the place.
That's right.
Create the culture.
That's right.
But that person has to step up and buy totally into what we're doing.
Exactly right. I mean, if you stop and think about it, all of us who are in management or ownership, leadership positions in business, we have the job, if you will, of creating the environment for employees to flourish.
Right.
But see, I was failing to do that.
Yeah.
Because my mission was money. And so, this whole environment and culture and all this business, all this invisible stuff we talk about, I didn't care about.
Yeah.
And guess what? It led to a colossal failure of my first business,
Wow.
And I think about that now because here I am, I'm a consultant and I go in and I either build or fix companies. And when I take a look at that, and take a look at what is happening in this company, or more importantly, here in recent years, John, finding companies that really got off the ground and had some great success and now find themselves in a declining state. It's those folks that I really find are the most intriguing because they actually have a model that works, but for whatever reason, they stop working it.
Makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
I mean, it's like if you're on a bicycle and you're trying to get somewhere, but you refuse to pedal.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And I often find myself asking the question, how did you get here? How did you get over here? And I always get about 8 times out of 10, I actually get the Scooby-Doo. I don't know how I got here. Okay, well, we got to back up and find out how you got here, because if you don't know how you got here, you're destined to wind up back here again because you don't know what exit you got off on.
Right. Right.
And it's a problem.
Yeah.
And so I'm thrilled that we're going to be talking about today, folks, understanding what your employees want, because if you don't know what they want, you got another problem cooking, and it may not be as quick as you may think or hope, because having a bunch of disgruntled employees in your company can be a very slow cooking, cancerous failure.
Yeah. And it could be very costly.
Oh, extremely costly, because of the amount of time it takes for that failure to manifest.
The first thing on the list that I think we should attack, and again, folks, if you're just joining the show, you're more than welcome to call in. If you want to call and give your 2 cents, you can do so by dialing 347-857-3958. Again, the number here is 347-857-3958. But what your employees want, first and foremost, and we'll do these in order, and I don't want to say that they're necessarily in order of importance.
Sure.
But we'll just say that the first one on our list is purpose.
Wow. So why am I here?
Why am I here? And it goes back to what we talked about yesterday. Don't assume that it's compensation.
Yeah.
It isn't necessarily compensation. I mean, I think true enough, that is a part of the bundle or the package that an employee is looking for. But they want to know, that they matter.
Right.
That there has to be a role that I fulfill here. What difference am I making as an employee? And believe me, self-worth is something that we all want. I mean, we have to have that, and we want to be valued by our peers, our family, our children.
That's right.
So why do you think that your employee doesn't want to be valued in the place where they spend probably the most of their time other than at home?
Oh, no doubt, spend most of their time other than at home.
Right. So you got to have purpose. You got to set up a culture of appreciation, and you got to help your employee understand the vital role that they play in the company's overall success.
Correct. No doubt. And with that said, John, purpose is one of those things that has to fit into the model.
Yeah.
Because here you're in management, you're an owner, and you're evangelizing what the business model is. And here you have an employee who is wondering, where do I fit into this?
Yeah.
How do I use my skills to make this big wheel turn?
Yeah.
And they need to be clear on that.
Yeah, I think they do. And and really we have to give credit to Stephen K.
Yes.
Because he mentioned something on yesterday's show that sort of jogged our mind about what employees wanted. And I hope the one thing that he said is on our list. I don't know if it is or not, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And guess what? Look what he did. He hit his microphone.
Oh, man, what a shame.
Yeah.
Well, guys, stick with us. We're talking about what your employees want. If you want to comment on the conversation, you can do so by dialing us at 347-857-3958. You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes, which is brought to you by Small Business Today magazine. It is the magazine that is for and about Houston's entrepreneurs. To get your free copy, you can go to smallbusinesstodaymagazine.com. Stay with us. We'll return in just a moment.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
Or even worse,
we've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
So how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cuny is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancuny.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now at...
Excuse me, heavy news?
You know, disasters, politics, stock market.
And this alternative is...
Coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
With my Plantronics Voyager Pro Plus headset, I'm free. Free to talk to you while carrying a laptop bag, holding a cup of coffee, and fishing for my car keys. Now, you may ask me, Jim, is it really necessary to use the phone while doing all these things? And my answer is, Is it really necessary not to? Plantronics Voyager Pro Plus. It's my so comfortable, why wouldn't I use it all day headset.
Get your Voyager Pro Plus at Plantronics.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today. Visit us on the web at cruiseandhughes.com. Here are your hosts, Cruz and Hughes.
Your business is the engine. The processes that you set up, that's the engine for your success. But the oil is your employees.
Absolutely.
You got to keep good fresh oil in your car or in your engine, so to speak. And we're talking about today what your employees want. And the first thing that we covered in the first segment was purpose. Don't assume that it's compensation. What would you say another thing is?
Goals. You better find out what your employees' goals are, folks, and you find that out by asking. That's how you find it out. It's amazing how people will literally go and start building an HR profile with a new employee, and it has on there a little section that says, what are your goals? Where do you expect to be in the next 5 years? Nobody is going to write on there, not here with you.
Yeah, right.
Nobody's going to write that.
You know, I'm going to tell you something. And one of the other benefits of that, you bring about a good point. When you look at that document in most companies, when you're doing your evaluation or whatever,
right.
Why is that section always so small?
It's small. You know, and it just amazes me because I don't know what they expect people to write in there. But
very little.
Very little, obviously.
And unless you know that management evidently doesn't care.
Does not care what your goals are. We care about what our goals are, but not what your goals are. And herein lies the problem.
Okay.
What your employees want is for you to back them up.
Yeah.
For you to support that. That's what they want, folks. And guess what? That's not money. What does that cost?
Yeah, yeah. And there has to be some harmony between the goals of the organization and the goals of the employee, in my opinion, for an employee to become a stellar employee, to become a high performer.
That's exactly right. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something I hear a lot from employees. It's been a long time since, I've been an employee in the corporate setting because now I'm a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. But one of the things that is interesting that I hear over and over again, John, is people who are in these major companies and they're saying, well, for whatever reason, the person ahead of me felt threatened. And I'm like, well, why is someone ahead of you feeling threatened by you striving to be a better person at your job? What's threatening about that?
Yeah, what is threatening about that?
Yeah, well, here's the point. I mean, I've literally had people, John, to say, and I'm talking about in a performance-based, mission-critical position in a company where this person's immediate supervisor, their direct report, told them that they were literally making too many phone calls because they had a particular quota of calls that they needed to make each hour. Well, this person was doing about 50% more than everyone else. And so this person was just short of being reprimanded by making 50% more calls per hour than everybody else.
Was that person more productive than everyone else?
Well, of course.
Wow.
And that's what I'm getting at is that, it was a mixed message sent to this particular employee. And of course, that touched off a series of painful pieces of frustration. And here's the point. This was a mixed message about what the goals were because this person obviously wanted to move up in the company.
You know what? And when you think about a person wanting to move up, I believe it. I'm of the belief that you have to have time where you sit down with your employees and you talk just about their goals. There has to be one day per quarter that you develop what those career goals are for your employee. Where do they see themselves, even if it means that they see themselves someplace else because they're going to school to be a doctor or something like that. But I want to know what your goals are and how can we at least walk in harmony together for as long as possible before it's time for us to make our split. I have to know where your head is.
Exactly.
And one of the benefits of having an opportunity where you take a day at least once a quarter and sit down with your employees, well, now you don't have someone who leaves the company because they were not put into a management role or they wasn't given more responsibility, because now you know where the heads are of just about everyone in your organization.
That's correct.
I know what you're looking for. I know. And so now if I know that your goal is to be vice president, let me now tell you what's what it takes for you to be able to achieve that goal.
Absolutely. And but will you find yourself wanting to do that, John, if you're the current sitting vice president? Yes or no?
Yes, I would.
You would.
I personally would. I don't have I do not like managers that feel threatened by the people that they are. There's always going to be someone else coming along that's going to be a superstar, that's going to do a great job. It doesn't necessarily mean that I need to oust you. If we continue to find employees like that, then doesn't that mean that we have a large degree of growth in this organization?
Absolutely, that's what it means.
And I'm certain that there's more than one or two or a dozen competent managers in the Microsoft Corporation.
No doubt.
You agree?
I would agree totally.
I would say there's probably a couple hundred.
Easily.
Easy.
And they're probably multimillionaires.
So my thing is that if I find someone in management that is not developing and bringing forth that talent, I got to get rid of that guy.
That's right.
Because we can't grow if we're going to stay with two managers, two supervisors, or however we're structured. It takes more than that.
You know, I'm reminded of a particular situation where an employee in a large concern was recently promoted. This was a manager already, running a department. The department was just wrought with inefficiencies.
Mm-hmm.
And the manager over that department that was so inefficient actually got promoted. But what was interesting about this promotion, they got an increase in pay, slight increase in pay, a higher title, but no employees, no direct reports.
Really?
So the question was that really a promotion?
I don't know about that.
I don't think that was a promotion.
Yeah, I mean, you promote someone but keep them in the same cubicle. They keep the same extension.
Well, they moved them out.
Oh, did they?
They moved them out to a different place because they're no longer in that department.
But they were just not over anybody else.
No direct reports. And so I thought it was interesting because this person was all excited about this promotion. And I'm sitting there listening to this, and I'm thinking, to me, you weren't promoted at all. So I don't know. Maybe somebody can call us and
I'm going to give you another Jeff Rose-ism.
Okay.
You know, he says if you're leading and nobody's following,
right,
you're just taking a walk.
Yep. Wow.
So anyway, that's what that sounds like. And you know, I don't want to
just taking a walk. Okay, all right.
I don't want to keep beating this horse, but this may be another show that we do in terms of how to find that talent in your organization. But another thing that I'm against, Irv, is promoting people simply because they are good performers, good managers of themselves, in the sense that you take a guy who's able to meet all of his sales goals, and then you automatically think that he can manage simply because he's an outstanding salesperson. And I see a lot of organizations, a lot of sales-oriented organizations who select their management team simply because they were very good salespeople.
That's right. And let me tell you what, I've been in that situation in my career, my professional career, and it is not pleasant.
That's right.
In fact, the net result of that oftentimes, John, works out to be a cut and pay for the guy who was supposedly promoted.
Yeah.
Because now you don't have the time to do the things that made you great in sales.
Yeah. Because
now you have the responsibility of looking after others and somehow or another keeping that sort of volume up. Or you've been relieved of that responsibility and the money goes with it.
Yeah. And many people who are able to sell very well, who are able to do that type of work, aren't necessarily the most people friendly as it relates to developing them.
Well, no, that's very true.
They lack that skill.
You know, I have a very good friend in sales. He's in the communications business, and he is absolutely outstanding when I talk about sales, his sales ability, his salesmanship, professionalism, and get this, customer service. The guy is absolutely stellar. And I've done business with him for many, many years because of this, because he's made me, every time I've been with this guy, he's found that spot, folks, where he makes me feel like I'm his only customer.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
And I know I'm not his only customer,
right,
because, I mean, you know, you can hang around this guy 5 minutes and know that he's making some serious cash.
Right, but he makes you feel good.
He makes you feel great. And here's the thing. I have watched him turn down offers to be promoted, I know, since I've known him at least 5 times.
Really?
Yeah. but because he's a stellar sales performer, he keeps getting offers to be in management, and he will not do it.
Wow.
And it's kind of speaking to that, because he knows that that's not necessarily the spot where he's going to be at his highest and best use.
Absolutely. Next point, responsibility. Your employees want responsibility.
Absolutely.
And responsibility, kind of goes back to, that new currency that you talked about.
That's right, trust.
It takes a large degree of trust. It's kind of like when you're fishing with your old man, and you finally get a bite on the hook, and he really wants to grab that pole from you and get that fish in the boat. But he has to have the trust in you.
That's right.
That he's taught you how to do it.
That's
and
right.
that you're going to execute. And it's sort of the same thing with your employees. You have to have that trust that they want to be dependent on. And as management or as ownership, you have to extend them that trust to give them that degree of or give them that room to make some mistakes, to fall, to falter,
That's right.
to fail. But that responsibility is so necessary in terms of development of your employees.
Let me tell you what, man. You want to have some disgruntled employees, is make them believe that you don't think enough of them to delegate any responsibility to them.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you what, man, you're going to start to see some serious erosion in the esprit de corps, I guess, around your business, because these folks are going to say, well, you know what? I know you really don't think much of me because, you looked at my resume, you see my skill set, yet here's a thing that I can do, but you don't want me to do it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe you just don't value me for whatever reason. But it's a funny thing, because you may not even, as a business owner, folks, you may not get the opportunity to actually have that kind of conversation with your employees. So you darn well better be careful right there, and make sure that when you get the opportunity to delegate some responsibility to an employee, that you do that.
You got to delegate. Management must delegate. Management must ask the question to your employees: can you do more? Would you like more responsibility? You should continue to. That should be a constant question that you ask. Can you do more? Would you like more responsibility? And those people who say no and continue to turn away from that responsibility, well, they show you where they should be placed in the organization.
Absolutely. When we come back, more on that. Folks, don't forget, those of you who are Android users, you can take us with you every day. Just use your web-enabled mobile device to visit the Google Play App Store on your device and search for our free Small Business Today radio app. You can download that app, put it on your web-enabled mobile device, and guess what? You can take Cruz and Hughes with you every single day. Listen to our archive shows, get a pen and paper, and you can handle it then. We'll be right back right after these messages.
Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cooney is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancooney.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now at...
Excuse me, heavy news?
You know, disasters, politics, stock market.
And this alternative is...
Coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
With my Plantronics Voyager Pro Plus headset, I'm free. Free to talk to you while carrying a laptop bag, holding a cup of coffee, and fishing for my car keys. Now, you may ask me, Jim, is it really necessary to use the phone while doing all these things? My answer is it really necessary not to? Plantronics Voyager Pro Plus. It's my so comfortable, why wouldn't I use it all day headset.
Get your Voyager Pro Plus at Plantronics.com.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
or even worse,
We've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
so how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz.
You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. We're wherever you are.
What do your employees want? All management wants to know, especially ownership. We do our best to give them what we think they want, and generally what we think they want is compensation, when that really isn't all of it. There are some other things that have to come along with the job, that have to come along with the experience of working with your organization. Just to recap, if you're just joining us, we're talking about what your employees want. We started with purpose. Number 2 was goals. Number 3 was responsibilities. They want more responsibility. Now, we went through our top 3, but Stephen K. had a list that he talked about on yesterday, and he said there was a scientific study done.
Yeah.
And that the number one thing that all employees wanted... Money. Was it money, Stephen K.?
No, actually, it was recognition.
Recognition.
People want recognition for their accomplishments and efforts.
I can see that.
Money.
So they don't want money for their efforts or compensation. Number one, even overcompensation, because you said that this was a scientific study that was done in your laboratory.
Not in my laboratory. It was a show we did on Life, Business, and Money a long time ago with, I want to say, business coach Bob Tierno. And they found a study that was done that broke out the statistics of what people want. And the number one thing people want above anything else is recognition for their efforts.
Well, we got to add that to our list. And I have to ask you, the listener, are you recognizing your employees for their efforts? If they come up with a great idea, if they bring a solution to a problem that the organization is faced with, do you recognize them, and do you recognize them publicly? And when I say publicly, meaning, are they mentioned in your newsletter? Are they mentioned in front of clients?
Yeah.
You know, do you publicly thank them in front of all other employees?
Yeah, in front of their peers.
In front of their peers.
Sure.
So I want to thank you, Stephen, for that addition to our list, but I can see where that is very important.
How about this one, John? Autonomy.
Yes. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone. Let me do my darn job. I used to have this one guy. I kid you not, John. True story. I'm working in a large corporate concern. I was a young guy then.
Right.
And inherently, I had a quota because I was in sales. Right. And so I'm, in my little beehive cubicle thing, I'm working away. And inherently, this guy would show up every day and he would ask me this question that would just stifle my productivity. You know what it was?
What was that?
What are you doing? He would literally say,
you know what? I just had a little flesh crawl.
See, didn't that bother you?
It bothered me.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
What?
If I'm at work,
I'm working here.
Yeah.
And I would tell him, you know what I would tell him? I would say, you know what? If you stay here asking me questions, you're going to ask harder questions about why I hadn't met my sales quota.
Right.
So I want you to leave my work area, please. I literally would tell this guy.
And this was management.
This was management.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it. And it finally dawned on me what the problem was. You know what the problem was? He had nothing to do.
micromanage
but
you guys.
micromanage me.
Yeah.
And then he would move over. True story. I would tell this guy to leave my work area. He would move over a few feet, and then he would start to ask other employees the exact same thing. What are you doing?
Wow. And I bet that would irk everyone.
It would just irk everyone. I mean, and it got so bad that when this guy would come around, people literally would just you could feel the tension raise.
Yeah. You could cut it with a knife.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I have to ask then, because there is something that's called row.
Yeah. What is that?
ROWE.
Like a boat.
Somewhat like you row a boat. Yeah.
Okay.
But ROWE.
Oh, ROWE. Okay.
Yeah, and it's an acronym for results only work environment. There are a lot of corporations that are going to this type of environment whereby you give complete and total autonomy over the employee's work schedule, when, where, and how they work.
Sure.
And if it's truly results only work environment, that means that they can do their work any time of day, whenever they feel like it. If you don't see them for several days in the office, that's okay, as long as the result is that this type of work is getting done.
Sure.
Now, there was a recent study at the Cranefield School of Management. The Cranefield School. Where does that sound like it may be from?
I don't know. Sounds like some big East Coast outfit.
Well, you're very close. You got to keep going further east. It's
east,
like in Britain.
Okay, all right, okay.
But the Cranefield School, they did a study, and they found that employees with flex hours were not only more productive than non-flex houred employees, but they tended to be happier within their jobs and stayed with the company longer. I want to say somewhere in the neighborhood of about 3 to 4 years longer than the other average employees. They also found that remote employees, people who were on that true results only work environment, I mean, there was no in-office requirement.
Right.
People who work from home mostly, they tended to work 7 hours longer per week than on-site employees.
That's another full day of work.
It is another full day of work.
I mean, that's another full day of work that really goes to the benefit of the company. But
let's hear the but.
But guess what? I would imagine that the folks in that study was happy to do it out of obviously appreciation for giving them that autonomy.
I would say so.
I mean, I have to say that being a top salesperson, I had a degree of autonomy with regard to how much time I spent in the office. And I say a degree, not a lot. But I was given kind of a results-oriented task, if you will, and that was my quota. You need to meet this sales number.
Right.
And if you meet this sales number, we have no problem if you showed up at 10 o'clock or 7 a.m. or 10 a.m. or 1 p.m.
Yeah.
But we do want to see your face in the place.
Yeah.
So don't disappear.
But let me ask you then. I mean, the way that my office worked, most of our sales team did not have to be in the office.
Sure.
However, the people who did the processing work for those salespeople, I just did not trust them not being in the office.
Oh, absolutely.
And one of the reasons why as well is that we were handling sensitive documentation for
absolutely.
clients. So I can't have that floating all over the place.
In your case, you didn't have that flexibility in the system just because of the industry you were in.
Right.
Yeah.
But do you think that you could feel comfortable as a president allowing members of your staff to work from home and to totally work at their own behest?
No. I think
you want to be honest about it?
Yeah. I want to be honest about it. No, I really, salespeople, I'm comfortable with. Administrative people, operations people, no.
Okay.
No, those folks. See, there's 3 major areas of just about every business you can look at. It's going to be administration, finance, and operations. Finance is the big, broad kind of department. Under that goes sales. All right, that's money in and money out. So that's finance. But what I'm getting at is that those folks who are in those other 2 critical areas, right? No, I need to see those folks.
Really?
Yeah, man, I need to see those folks because if there's an issue, see, I don't know how you control the quality of your product or service, and you can't see those folks. You can't put your hands on them. You can't immediately respond to an issue. So I don't know. Maybe I'm a Neanderthal about that. But
tell us what you think. If you'd like to call in, you're more than welcome to. You can call us at 347-857-3958. But what about this study at the Crane Field School then? They say that if you would adopt this, then chances are you're going to have a happier employee who works for you longer in terms of their duration or their tenure, as well as they're going to work longer work weeks because they're happier if you allow them to.
I can see all that. But I also think that there is some reciprocity that I need to get where I'm comfortable that all the stuff that needs to happen is happening. The other thing was
you're a control freak.
Yes. Absolutely. I've got to control my output here. Absolutely. Besides, I believe that study was done. You said it was done in Britain. So, I mean, that's un-American.
Who can trust it? The Crane Field School.
Yeah, the Crane Field School. They surveyed Brits.
Over 2,000 British.
There we go. Try that in America. Yeah, right. Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I think this may work in America, but before we go to break, let's at least introduce the next bullet point. Number 5.
Number 5. What do we have for number 5?
Number 5 would be involvement.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course. See, I've been talking about that. How are you going to be involved if you're at home?
You're just a control freak. You want to manage your people. You want them there. And I don't blame you. I'm a little bit of that myself.
You just didn't want to admit it. You wanted me to take the hit.
It's fun poking fun at you. But it's the same way. I have to see your face in the place as you put it. So, but we're going to talk about involvement when we come back.
Yeah, we can talk about that and how people can stay involved and keep peace
in the office.
In the office with the boss. Folks, you're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. Guess what? It's brought to you by the Lexington Law Firm. When you need credit help, get a free consultation today by calling 888-744-7081. Folks, don't go away. The education continues right after this.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
Or even worse,
we've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
So how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cooney is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancooney.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now at...
Excuse me, heavy news?
You know, disasters, politics, stock market.
And this alternative is...
Coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
With my Plantronics Voyager Pro Plus headset, I'm free. Free to talk to you while carrying a laptop bag, holding a cup of coffee, and fishing for my car keys. Now, you may ask me, Jim, is it really necessary to use the phone while doing all these things? And my answer is it really necessary not to? Plantronics Voyager Pro Plus. It's my so comfortable, why wouldn't I use it all day headset.
Get your Voyager Pro Plus at Plantronics.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today. Visit us on the web at cruiseandhughes.com. Here are your hosts, Cruz and Hughes.
What do your employees want? What are you prepared to give them? We're talking about that on today's show.
That's right.
We've covered a few things. We've talked about your employee wants purpose. They want goals. They want responsibilities. They want autonomy to do the work that needs to be done the way that they want to do it. They don't want to be micromanaged. And Stephen K. even said that what they want above all else is recognition.
They want to be recognized and appreciated.
Publicly.
In
front of their peers.
That's right.
In front of clients.
Their peers. Sure.
Why not?
Sure.
Why not? I think that's worth giving it to them. Let them get credit for the ideas. Now, we were talking about involvement before we went to break. And,
right.
And Irv, when I think about involvement, I think what comes to mind to me, there are a lot of complex problems that management struggles with.
Sure.
And I guess you could also call this to a degree some transparency. But I believe if there is a company issue and you have a small organization, you're a small outfit, meaning that you're 25, 30 people, that's more of a family work environment.
No doubt.
At least most of the small businesses that I've witnessed,
sure,
they refer to each other more so as family. And if it is truly that type of organization, I think that you get more out of it when you involve every employee into solving issues that the company may have. What are your thoughts?
No, that I totally agree with that. My company got up to about 50 employees.
Okay.
And
that's to me, that's sort of breaking you've gone across the bridge as it relates to.
Yeah. I got up to about 50 employees, and that was kind of 32 external kind of salespeople, and then the rest were internal people who were supporting them. And what was interesting is even with a group that size, I still worked very closely with them, even when we had problems. So, you mentioned one of the words you mentioned was transparency. And it was amazing how when we did have challenges, notice I'm saying we, it was never an us and a them kind of a environment. It was a we. And it was really refreshing to me when we had issues going, when I would share with the group, here's a problem, and I'm open for suggestions.
Right.
How people would start off their sentences with, well, I think we need to do this.
Yeah.
And I think we need to do that.
They've totally involved themselves.
Exactly. It was not, well, you need to do this or you need to do that. It was not that. It was, I think we need to do this, or can we take a look at this option?
Absolutely.
And it was so refreshing as somebody who was a small business owner to have that kind of support from the employees, because they were now stakeholders in the success of the business,
which is so important. I mean, these people have to buy in.
Sure,
they have to buy. And you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. I've seen small companies that were going through fiscal challenges, and they would get all the employees together. And say, look, these are our options: lay off people, cut back on these types of and make it a group effort to figure out where could we save money, what could we do differently to save our jobs.
That's right.
And more often than not, the stories that I've read on outfits like that, they tend to survive.
They do,
because they don't just limit the decision-making process to just the top-level managers.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden you come through cutting employees and doing all of these things, and people feel like, well, I don't know what to expect next.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and quit because I don't know if tomorrow's going to be my last day anyway.
Well, that's exactly right. And guess what? The beauty in that, though, is now people get the benefit of making the decision on their own.
Right. To either stay.
And
I know where we're headed. I know what situation we're in.
Right.
I love that.
And I absolutely loved it, because when we got into some challenges, and we were in finance, and so we ran into some things.
Right.
But what was cool is having that conversation with those folks. Number one, I felt great because I wasn't trying to keep anything back from those people, because I understood I was affecting their lives and their livelihoods and lifestyles, their children, everything.
That's right.
And so having that kind of conversation with them, some people did choose to leave the organization. All right. Now, here's the thing that was interesting. One of the things that I, as a business owner and as a manager, had to do was keep down conversations within the organization about people who chose to leave. Because, what would happen is the people who chose to stay would now feel like the person who chose to leave was, bailing out, so to speak.
Right.
And here's the thing. I would quell that kind of language all the time, because people are in different places.
That's right.
And some people could afford to hang in there and stay, and some people simply could not afford to stay.
Very true.
In which case, now I didn't want them feeling like, these were their friends who they had worked with for years.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, because that person was not in a position to stay, now there's negative language coming out about that person. I would cut that right off.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, because you just can't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next point. Innovation.
Wow.
And it's something that you've talked about before.
Yeah.
Companies needing, there being a strong need for companies to innovate.
Absolutely. And guess what, folks? Let me tell you, if you own a small business, your employees are some of the most creative people that you probably are going to ever meet. I know you may think, well, these high-powered experts on this subject or that, but the people who are with you every day, the people who have chosen to hitch their wagon to your star, so to speak, those people have some great ideas about how to make your business run well. And you ought to listen to that, because if they're coming up with a suggestion, you really do need to pay attention to that. And I'm reminded of Ross Perot. There was a story years ago.
Ross Perelli.
There was a story out years ago about Ross Perot coming into GM and going to the plants, the assembly plants, and going down in the pits where the guys worked, literally in a pit under the assembly line, because they were doing the undercarriage work. And the story goes that Ross Perot goes down in this pit and meets this employee who had been working down there more than 20 years. So he's got back problems because he's upside down. He's working up over his head the whole day. And the thing that was so striking, why I remembered the story, is because he said this employee gave him 3 or 4 points about how to make a better car. And nobody had ever even taken the time to even ask the guy about his ideas or what innovations could have been made to make the car better.
Well, because, the arrogance of management, sometimes, the thinking would be, what can a guy who's in a pit all day long tell me about making cars?
Yeah, he can
probably a little bit.
Probably a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not something that's going to come out on your balance sheet or on your P&L.
That's right.
It will eventually.
Absolutely.
But not now.
And when I think about Google's 20% creative time policy, where they allow their employees 20% of the day to work on whatever project they feel like that they want to work on.
Sure.
And that's one of the reasons why Google continues to come out with all of these great apps, with all these fresh ideas that Stephen K. champions all the time.
That's
because
right.
He's a big Google person. Before we go to break, let's hit him with another one.
So how about this? Your company has to continue to innovate, because guess what? That'll save some time and some money.
Absolutely. Time and money. Innovation. People want to work for a company that's technologically sound. It saves time. It actually can save jobs. I hate to say that.
Yeah.
But sometimes, technology and innovation could mean that you have to hire less people. And for small companies, that is important. We are the engine that hires most of America, but at the same time, we got to watch our budgets.
That's exactly right. You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes, brought to you by DirecTV, with over 285 channels and NFL Sunday Ticket. Packages start at just $29.99 a month. Sign up today at 888-344-9296. More in a moment.
Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cooney is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancooney.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now at...
Excuse me, heavy news?
You know, disasters, politics, stock market.
And this alternative is...
Coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
With my Plantronics Voyager Pro Plus headset, I'm free. Free to talk to you while carrying a laptop bag, holding a cup of coffee, and fishing for my car keys. Now, you may ask me, Jim, is it really necessary to use the phone while doing all these things? My answer is it really necessary not to? Plantronics Voyager Pro Plus. It's my so comfortable, why wouldn't I use it all day headset.
Get your Voyager Pro Plus at Plantronics.com.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
or even worse,
We've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
so how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz.
You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. We're wherever you are.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Irv and I are talking about what your employees want from you. And to recap, they want lots of things.
They want lots of things.
But they want purpose. They want goals. They want responsibilities. They want autonomy. They want involvement. They want innovation. And that brings us all the way up to
leadership.
Leadership. Who doesn't want that?
Man, let me tell you what. Whole organizations, countries, governments have toppled because of the lack of leadership.
Right. And people are starved.
That's right.
For leadership.
Absolutely.
We all want it. And in your organization, you need to figure out what does it take to be a strong, sound leader. And the next time we do a show, we're going to talk about leadership. And that's something that you need to be focused on. How can you make yourself a better leader? Because being a better leader, being a more equipped leader, puts you in a position to lead your people in such a way that they will follow you. Also, lastly, that brings us all the way down to compensation.
Money. We got to talk about money.
Yeah, I mean, and it should be in this order, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with that. I think compensation should bring up the caboose as far as on the train of things that might be important in what your employees want.
You know, and when you talk about compensation, people want, you know, quite honestly, I've noticed people, you know, my wife is even this way. Recognition truly does mean more to her than compensation.
Sure.
And she'll work for less if she's properly recognized for the diligent job that she does. So
no doubt.
Keep that in mind. I mean, compensation is important, but it's not the very first thing. It should not lead the list. There's some other things that you can offer your employees that would make them happy in the workplace.
Absolutely, no doubt. Well, John,
I think that brings us to the end of another great show.
Another great show in the box.
If you guys ever want to contact me, you could always do that at john@cruiseandhughes.com.
And you can reach me at Irvin, that's ERVIN, at cruiseandhughes.com.
I want to thank you for tuning in to Small Business Today, which has been brought to you by Small Business Today magazine. And guys, this is the place where we discuss the topics that inspires entrepreneurs from thought to action. Irvin and I always encourage you to go to our website, which is www.cruiseandhughes.com, where you can find our other old shows there, and there's always information that you can use. I'm John Cruz.
I'm Irv Hughes.
And guys, we want you to do three things: be smart, be successful, and above all else,
be in action.
And Irv and I will see you next week.